Namaste. In this video, we are going to look at Saturn in Bhrigu Nadi. I'm going to learn how to use palmistry with Bhrigu Nadi, with specific focus on Saturn, Saturn Line, and the Rashis owned by Saturn, namely Makar and Kumbh. So here we are going to look at what are the Karakatwas of Saturn as mentioned in Bhrigu Nadi. We are also going to look at the placement of Saturn, the drishti, that means the aspect of Saturn, the yuti, that means the conjunction of Saturn with a particular graha, and how it can help in predicting events or predicting the scale or predicting the nature of profession, etc., etc. So in Brigunadi we use Saturn very commonly to see the karma. That means Saturn is known as karma karak in Brigunadi, karma karak. Okay, that means we look at the profession, work, business, employment, job, etc., etc. Okay, this is all looked through the lens called Saturn. Now, in the chart, as you know, in Brigunadi, mostly the astrologers do not use Lagna. They use a normal Rashi chart, okay, with degrees. Degrees of the Graha are very important in Nadi because the trigger of particular events can be predicted using these degrees. Here we are going to look at few interesting pointers as mentioned in Brigunadi. So assuming that the Saturn is here in the Rashi chart, this particular position is the second house and this is the 12th house. That means if the Saturn is in this place, then this is the second, this is the 12th. In Brigunadi, we have to check the 212 very commonly used dictums. Focus on 212. The graha that are in 2 or 12 to the Saturn are checked. This is part 1. In Brigunadi, we also check the 10th house from Saturn. We also check the 10th house from Saturn. Then we also check which graha is in yuti. For example, if Sun is in yuti with Saturn or some other graha is in yuti with Saturn, that means conjunction in the same Rashi. Then we also check Rashi Parivartan. That means exchange between Shani and some other graha. The next pointer is that we also look at the Saturn's third aspect. In Brigunadi, as opposed to the Parashara, the third aspect is known to be more powerful than the 10th aspect of Saturn. In fact, when we use progressions in astropalmistry, I don't even consider the 10th aspect of Saturn that prominently. It's mostly the third, yuti, 7th. These are the, and of course Parivartan, Rashi Parivartan. These are considered. Second is also very important. 12th I will explain to you later. So this is how we look at a particular graha. Now here we are looking at Saturn. So Karma Karaka, very important. Karma Karaka is, that means Saturn has to be considered very minutely, and these pointers are very important in predictions. Now to do predictions, we should know that what are the karakatwas that this particular graha Saturn has in Brigunadi. We should go into the overview what are the karakatwas for Saturn. As you know, Saturn is for profession. Profession can be a broader term used here. It is work, business, employment, job, whatever you want to call it, contract job, whatever. So it's like karma, profession. Saturn is also checked in the palm as well as in the chart to see the hurdles that this native is going to face, obstacles, delays, opposition. What are the challenges? So this is again given by Saturn. Saturn also is used to check predictions or to get idea about the death or terminal diseases. Saturn is also used surprisingly to check for travels. Now these travels are long distance travels which are aimed at some professional which have some professional linkages. That means work where the person has to move abroad, or he has to do work with people abroad or something like this. So these are the broader karakatwas that we use for Saturn in Brigunadi. There is one more karakatva that is used, and that is ancestral property. So in short, Saturn's karakatwas are profession, hurdles means obstacles, challenges, opposition, enemies, etc. in profession. Travels, long distance travels that are linked to work, death or terminal diseases, and ancestral property. So these are the karakatwas of Saturn in Brigunadi. Now in the palm we always look at the Saturn mount. The Saturn mount is this one, where you have two rashis, namely Makar, which is the 10th Rashi, and Kumbh, which is the 11th Rashi in the Kal Purush Kundali. So we consider 11 to be at this position and 10 to be in this position. And this particular area is the Shani Parvat or the Saturn mount. Now remember, Saturn mount is like the root. It's like the root. If the root is damaged, even if you have excellent Saturn line or Saturn finger, things are not going to be very auspicious if the root is damaged. Alright, so this is the next thing which I wanted to share. Now we will go again further into the Saturn line. If you look at this, if I draw a straight line, this line is generally known as the Sthai Shani Rekha or the permanent Saturn line. In many palms this is not present. Okay, in some palms only this is present. Now what is the other line that we generally call as Shani Rekha? In traditional books of palmistry, you will always see that the Shani Rekha starts from the Manibandh and reaches the Shani Parvat. This line is called as Shani Rekha or Fate line or Bhagya Rekha. Okay, so these are the names given to the Shani Rekha. In astro palmistry, Nadi astro palmistry, we call this Shani Rekha okay, because its termination is on the Shani Parvat. It could be on Makar side or it could be on the Kumbha side. It doesn't matter. It has to be in that zone, and such a rekha is called as Shani Rekha. Now, in some palms, you will see that the Shani Rekha is present and there is a Sthai Shani Rekha present. No issues with that. In some palms, you will see that the Shani Rekha, this is your lifeline or Shukra Rekha. The Shani Rekha starts from the Shukra Rekha. In some palms, you will see that the Shani Rekha would be very close to the Shukra Rekha. While in some palms, you will see that the Shani Rekha starts from the Shukra Rekha itself. And in many palms, the Shani Rekha also has a moon connection. Alright, it also can get connected from the Mars. It could be this or it could be this, whichever. So there are many positions from where a Shani Rekha can start and finally terminate in the Shani Parvat or the roots. Coming to the Bhrigu Nadi, again let me go back. So we spoke about 212. We spoke about the third aspect. We also looked at the 10th from the Shani, and of course the 7th. This is a mutual opposition 180 degrees. This is common for all the graha. And lastly, we looked at two more things, which was Yuti and Parivartan, Rashi Parivartan. So these are the things that we look when we look at Shani. So a profession of a person can be determined using the concepts which I just mentioned. So if there is a graha in the second from Shani, in many palms you will see that, let's say for example, we will take an example of sun here. Okay, we'll take an example of sun here. So if the sun is second from Shani, and let's look at this. Okay, let's look at this. If the sun is second from Shani, then you know that this is the Surya Rekha, and I already told you about the Shani Rekha here. Okay, this is the Sthai Shani Rekha. I'm just taking into account Sthai Shani Rekha for the time being. Suppose there is Surya in the second from Shani. If a line commences from the Surya Rekha and tries to connect to the Shani Rekha or to the Shani Parvat, then in such palms or in such charts, one can say that the second from the Shani where the Surya is placed is active, is very active. What does this give? This actually gives large scale opportunities. That means person might start a small business, and then you would see some clients asking you, will I be able to earn millions? Will I be a big businessman? Will I have a lot of success in life? If the sun is in the second, and if you see a line like this, not straight, it could be like, it could have many different variations. So if you see any line like that towards the Shani Parvat from this zone, this indicates that the person will surely get large scale success. It could be in the form of government benefit from the government, or some donations, or some big opportunities, or some success abroad, that means in the foreign countries, or success due to some prominent persons, or he could get some position in the government or position in the society, or he could be well known, you understand. So these are the kind of things that one can, or he could have some authority in society where people will come to him and listen to him. He could be an educator, he could be a social activist, he could be a lawyer who is very famous and he's fighting for some just cause. You can say that this second from the Saturn can work in many different ways. But please note, all what I'm saying is going to work only when the sun line is not afflicted. It can be like that, it can be slightly curved and it may not be complete. That's okay. That means the success will come late, or it will come with a lot of efforts, or there will be a lot of obstacles, and then the person gains success. And this line exists. Okay, I'm talking about this line connecting to the Saturn mount. So this is one thing. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not only the sun line that has to be strong, the Shani Rekha also has to be good. The Shani Rekha should not have any defects. See, this is very important. The Shani Rekha should be straight. If it is not straight, say for example, if the Shani Rekha is like this, that means there is a hump. This type of hump actually indicates problems. People don't look at these things closely. They just look at the strength of the Shani line and they say, wow, this is amazing. That's not true. You have to look at the orientation of that line while it passes through different zones in the palm. The second thing which you must look when you are looking at a palm or a palm line is the thickness. Now you will see a Shani Rekha here in this part is very, very thick, and as it goes it becomes thinner. This is a good sign. But if the Shani Rekha is thick and again becomes thick here and then thinner on this side, this is bad luck. Okay, then if a Shani Rekha is thick throughout, it means there is strong prarabdha. That means the person has a lot of responsibilities, lot of work, lot of things to be achieved, lot of obstacles, or he has to go through a lot of hardships and hard work he has to do. It's not going to be easy for him. This is one of the indications. Then if the Shani Rekha is curved like this and originating from the moon or closer to the Mars, not closer to the Mars, to be honest, it has to be from the moon. If the Shani Rekha, see, there are two ways of looking at it. It could be a straight line from the moon, or it could be like this, curved. In both cases, you will see that the moon will be the primary driver. And if there is a sun line, it joins like this. Yes, the person is going to get lot of benefits, but it will primarily be in those areas which are dominated by moon. So again, in Bhrigunadi, you have to go deep into the Karakattvas of Chandra. There are more than 30 Karakattvas. Okay, that I am not going into right now. I am just giving you the indication how we look at one single line called Shani Rekha with respect to some other graha. So here I mentioned about the second from Saturn. In Bhrigunadi, if there are many grahas in third from Saturn, then each of these graha or that graha is going to share some of its qualities with Shani. That means the individual will have some skills related to the graha in the third, or the individual will perform certain karma activities according to the graha placed in third, or his actions or the methodology or the techniques that he uses will also be based on the graha which is in the third, or many grahas which are in the third. It means the graha in the third give or share some of their Karakattvas to the Shani. Now, this is purely based on Bhrigu Nadi techniques. Please do not get confused. Don't combine this with Parashara. It is not fair. It is like you are driving right-handed and then suddenly switching to left-hand drive. Okay, so there is a lot of difference between the way we look at the planets in Graha, in Bhrigu Nadi. Shani's 10th from the Saturn also plays a role in case of Bhrigu Nadi, but not in progressions. Otherwise, it plays a role. What do we look at? We will look at the particular field that the person chooses. Which field would be more beneficial for him? If you want to give that, then 10th house from Shani is very useful. The graha from 10th, or graha that are placed in the 10th from Shani, or the Rashi. I'm talking about the Rashi that is 10th from Shani, or the graha that are placed in the 10th from Shani. The Rashi where the Shani is placed is also very, very important. So I'm just going slow and steady because this is how we look at the Shani Rekha. Now the Shani Rekha is not a principal Rekha or Pradhan Rekha. It is a Up Pradhan Rekha. It is not considered to be the principal line in palmistry. The principal lines are heart line, which is called as Jiva Rekha, that means Jupiter line. Head line, which is otherwise called as Kuja Rekha or Mangal Rekha. This is called Shukra Rekha or the lifeline. Then we look at Shani Rekha, which is the Saturn line. Then we have Buddha Rekha. Then we have Surya Rekha. Now, considering this, we will also look at few other combinations. Suppose there is a branch from Shani Rekha that goes towards Jupiter. This is a very good sign where the person can gain authority or status in life. If from the Shani Rekha, if from the Shani Rekha a line goes to the sun from the Shani Rekha, please note, this means that the person has exceptional talent. He could be a good orator, he could be an artist, he could be a cricketer like Sachin Tendulkar, or he could be anybody like, let's say for example, a lawyer who is famous, or somebody like people who have some talent. So sometimes Yuti with Surya and Shani, when they are in Yuti, I'm not saying all the charts, all the palms will have this. No, not necessarily. But it has been seen that if you have something like this. But please note, Yuti in Bhrigu Nadi also means that it could be Sun plus Saturn in one Rashi, or Saturn and Sun in trines. This is also considered Yuti. Okay, so that also can be seen here. Now the angle that this makes and the thickness of this line with respect to this line, these are deeper concepts. We are not going into it right now. So I'm just giving you an idea how we keep checking and how we going deeper into these concepts. So when Saturn and Sun are together, for example in Yuti, you can see that this Rekha works very well. So the other way, there is one more combination which we generally look, and you will see that in some palms you will see like this. You will see like this. This is a sign for great success, no doubt about it. In some palms you will also see a line from the Fate line or the Shani Rekha joining the Buddha Parvat. So these are very, very auspicious combinations. But remember, the quality of the Shani Rekha is the most important factor. Very important. And the roots here are also important. You cannot just say that, okay, this line goes this way, so the person is going to become Ambani. No, not necessarily. There are many other factors like Shukra, like Chandra, and other lines. Okay, so these are some things which you should note. Now you will be surprised that in very, very, very rich people who have inherited a lot of wealth, I have seen that, you know, they have these kind of combinations, very weird combinations. The fate line or the Shani Rekha starts from the Shukra Rekha, and it stops here. It doesn't move an inch beyond the headline. Then you have a small rekha, which is the Sthai Rekha. That's it. You can have some other formations here or in this part if that person is doing business. But if you look at this is a combination for huge wealth. People may not agree with me, but you should see palms and then only you will realize. Because in the books they don't give you this. But you have to watch these things practically. So I'm just giving you few ideas. So this is one of the combinations for huge wealth or inheritance. It could be in terms of landed property or gold, or some kind of ancestral wealth or business or brand name, whatever the person gains. So I'm just giving you an example of this. So Shani Rekha is very important. In some palms, as I told you, Shani Rekha is not seen at all, but you will see a small Rekha here. That is also good. Nothing wrong with it. I have seen people who own many apartments in foreign countries having this small line, and they don't have anything here. Okay, so palmistry is complicated. It's not straight like astrology where you see a particular combination, you start predicting. No, it is complex. The reason why it is complex, I'll tell you. Look, if in Mumbai, let's say Bandra, a kid is born at, let's say, 12:30 p.m. exactly at the same time in Santa Cruz, or in, let's say, Malad, or maybe in Kurla, or in slightly further Pune or Nashik, or you can say Goa, Panaji. There could be many people who are born exactly at 12:30 p.m. Exact. This is a possibility. So do you think that all of them will have the same fate or same luck or same lifestyle or events? Absolutely not. They will have the same Rashi chart, they will have the same Lagna chart, they will have the exact same Varga charts, they will have everything same, moon sign, Panchang and all, everything you go, it will be exactly the same. But they will never have the palm lines, they will never have the same palm lines. So what makes things different is that these palm lines are unique identifiers. And suppose the same guys who, let's say, 10 of them were born at the same time at 12:30, each one would have a different orientation of Shani Rekha. So if there was sun in the second house from Saturn in all of them, it is not necessary that this line would be present in all of them, which I mentioned. Not necessarily. Maybe the 10th house from Shani had, let's say, Mars. Maybe that is active in this case, in another guy's case. Or maybe Moon was in the 10th for all of them, and The Shani Rekha therefore took this shape. It means even though all the grahas were exactly the same, second to the Saturn was Sun, 10th was Moon, then you had Mars, whatever, okay. But the orientation of the lines suggested that a particular graha karakatwas were playing a dominating role or were dominating over the others in this palm, but not in the other palm where probably the Shani Rekha was like this from the Shukra Rekha. You never know. So you have to go deep into these things. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that okay, you have the Lagna chart, everything is fine, but please make sure that you look at the palm lines because they give lot of indications about which graha is more prominent or what would be the results. Let's say for example, how would Shani behave, what are the results of karma karaka in this particular rashi chart or lagna chart, how is the karma strong. For example, in one of these natives, if the Shani Rekha has a break, or in another native's case if there are lines like this which are crossing, or if in case of another person if there is a small triangle here with respect to the kujareka. What does this mean? These all give different meanings. And at what age? Because even though the Vimshottari Dasha is same, Gochar, everything would be same, the events will not be the same. And the nature of the events may also not be the same. Why? Because at a particular age on the Shani Rekha, there could be an island, we don't know, for one of the natives, whereas the other natives may not have an island. So, in other natives' case, there could be a line like this from the Shukra Rekha suggesting that this person is going to inherit some property or some houses, or is going to build, or he's going to get some houses from his mother's side or from his father's side or maybe from his paternal or maternal side. But in the other guy's case, this line may not be present at all. Or in some other case, a line from the moon comes and touches the Shani Rekha. It means here the 10th house where the moon is situated is going to give him money and not the type of profession. As I told you, like it doesn't indicate the type of profession, but it's going to give him money because of some, or it could give some influential marriage, or it could give foreign related money. I hope you understand. So these are the little things that you have to watch out for. I know the video is getting very lengthy, but this is all what I wanted to show you. This is just one part of my video. I'm going to bring out such videos so that we'll focus only on Shani Rekha. We'll focus on the major rekhas in the palm. Thank you.